All right, let's talk about a word we hear all the time: productivity. But what does it actually mean? For most of us, we picture someone who's just constantly busy, glued to their phone, rushing from one thing to the next. But what if that's all wrong? Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and find out what being truly productive is all about.
So, that common image of a productive person, it's not great. The source for this explainer puts it pretty bluntly. The person is productive in the way a factory hen is productive. Ouch. It's this idea that we're just supposed to mindlessly process whatever task is put in front of us, one after another.
But what if I told you that's not what true productivity is at all? What if that whole factory hen model is just completely broken? What if the most productive people in history were playing a totally different game with a completely different set of rules? And this is where it gets really important to make a distinction. So many of us, myself included, confuse being busy with being productive. See, busy is just activity. It's reacting to emails, making calls, running around. But productive, that's about action. It's planned, it's focused, and it actually moves you closer to a real goal. It's kind of the difference between running on a treadmill and actually running a race to a finish line. So here it is. This is the core formula, the heart of this entire explainer. Real productivity isn't just one thing. It's actually a multiplication of two key ingredients: creativity, which is all about your ideas and your insights, and efficiency, which is your ability to actually execute on those ideas. And because it's multiplication, this is where the magic happens. Think about it. If either one of those numbers is zero, what happens? Your total productivity is also zero. You can have the most brilliant, world-changing ideas, but with zero efficiency, they're just daydreams. And on the flip side, you can be the most efficient person on the planet, but with zero creativity, you're just spinning your wheels on meaningless tasks. You need both. Okay, so if that's the formula, how do we get better at both creativity times efficiency? Well, to figure that out, we're going to look at three absolute legends who completely mastered this: Isaac Newton, Vincent van Gogh, and Henry Ford. Let's see what they can teach us. We'll start with the one and only Sir Isaac Newton. Now, you'd think a guy like that would chalk it all up to being a genius, right? But when he was asked, he said this: "If I have ever made any valuable discoveries, it has been due more to patient attention than to any other talent." Patient attention. And let's be clear, when he says valuable discoveries, that's the understatement of the century. We're talking about the guy who discovered gravity, came up with the fundamental laws of motion for the entire universe, and oh yeah, invented calculus just for fun. The output was just mind-blowing. So what was his secret? What was this patient attention he was talking about? It was the power of questioning. See, Newton kept a list of questions he was obsessed with answering. His genius wasn't just in finding the answers. It was in his relentless, focused pursuit of the right questions. Okay, next up, Vincent van Gogh. His take on it was a little different, but just as powerful. He said, "Great things are done by a series of small things brought together." This kind of hints at a whole different kind of superpower. And just look at the proof. Get this: 860 oil paintings in a little more than 10 years. Do the math on that. That's a brand new painting every 4 or 5 days. This wasn't some tortured artist waiting for inspiration to strike like lightning. This was work. And that was his secret: the power of consistency. His incredible body of work was the cumulative result of sufficient, regular, focused attention. He didn't wait to feel motivated. He just got up and did the work, day in and day out. For him, the inspiration came from doing the work, not before it. And finally, our third legend, Henry Ford. He had this incredible belief in people's potential. He said, "There is no man living who isn't capable of doing more than he thinks he can do." He was absolutely obsessed with unlocking that potential. And he didn't just talk about it, he built it. We think of the Model T car, but he created the whole world around it, the assembly line to build it, the franchise network to sell it, and he even paid his workers high enough wages so they could afford to buy the cars they were making. It was a total revolution. So what was Ford's big secret? It was his relentless focus on the power of a better system. He realized that pretty much any problem that keeps happening over and over can be solved not by trying to fix the person, but by designing a better process for them to follow. Okay, that was the history lesson. Super fascinating, right? But now for the big question. How do we take all these amazing lessons from Newton, Van Gogh, and Ford and actually apply them to our own lives right now? I love this analogy from the source material. Think of your systems as riverbanks. A river has banks and is going somewhere, while a swamp doesn't have banks and is going nowhere. A great system guides your energy. It makes doing the right thing the easy thing, the path of least resistance. It just flows.
So this brings us to you. Let's get practical. How do you actually spot a broken system, a swamp, in your own life? Where are things getting stuck?
And here's a simple little trick. Just listen to the words you use when you complain. Look for the keywords always and never. Whenever you hear yourself saying, ugh, I can never keep up with my email, or the laundry is always piling up, listen closely. That's not a character flaw. That's a system failure.
And this idea is so empowering. Read this and let it sink in. You're not a disorganized person. You're just using disorganized systems. This shifts everything. The problem isn't something that's wrong with you. It's something external that you can actually fix, that you can redesign.
So let's build a quick system for one of the biggest swamp monsters out there, procrastination. It's a great technique called salami slicing. It's super simple. 1. Pick that big, intimidating task you've been avoiding. 2. Define the absolute tiniest, most laughably small first step. I mean, like open a new document or put on my running shoes. 3. Do only that one tiny step. And 4. Just ride that little wave of momentum into the next step. You're making it too small to fail. So to wrap it all up, what are the big takeaways here? First, we need to completely redefine productivity. It's not about being busy, it's creativity times efficiency. Second, we can learn from the greats. Question everything like Newton, show up consistently like Van Gogh, and build better systems like Ford. And maybe the biggest one of all, stop trying to fix yourself. Fix your systems.
And I want to leave you with this final thought, a really powerful question to ask yourself. Your current systems produce your current results. That's a fact. So the real question is, what results do you want instead? And what systems are you going to build to get there?